A new survey of Clever Real Estate by Clever Real Estate found that was the case with 58% of Gen Z respondents, including 65% of Gen Zers with loans, that faced the tough job market and rising prices, they're hoping for a market.
Look at this. Look at this version. This is for me. The American dream is for people to work a job to be able to provide for their family and take care of their kids and set their children up to be able to take care of their kids. Also with home ownership. That is part of the American dream.
Now, conservatives fundamentally disagree with this point that Americans are earning even relatively less money.
I've seen people saying stuff like, oh, well, we need to go on strike. Everything's unaffordable. We need to do something. People already have.
The economy has gotten so bad that I've literally started stealing again.
One thing that I love that we've been on the same page about is not paying them goddamn bills.
If you ain't filthy rich, you're living paycheck to paycheck.
Like, I'm genuinely fucking tired.
Fuck! You called me to collect a debt over some medical bills?
Goddamn body, I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of you.
Man, I'm tired. I'm tired both physically and mentally.
Americans have already cut back. Americans have already worked more hours. Americans have already exhausted their credit card to the max. When it came to grocery, rent, and basic bills keep on rising, it comes a point where there is nowhere left to turn anymore in this economy. And that's where we are right now. And if you are new here, do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe, the smash button, share, comment, and like. And let's check out this video.
Where did America's affordability crisis come from? I think the natural answer is to point to the most recent inflation spike. As we were coming out of the pandemic, prices started to grow at a clip we haven't seen in 40 years. This peaks in the summer of 2022. We're able to get price growth down afterwards, but of course, prices themselves remain high. And here we are 6 years after the pandemic started, and the price of almost every good and service that we buy in our economy has increased. And our wages and income have not grown enough for us to feel like we've kept pace. That is the last chapter of a book you need to read cover to cover. There was absolutely an acceleration of prices over the last few years, especially coming out of the pandemic. There are certain goods and services for which the market that produces them has deep underlying issues that require now government intervention, like childcare, like healthcare. But the affordability crisis, it's a function of price and income. There are these severe acute pain points right now, but they're symptoms on the price side where the disease is coming from the wage and income side. Americans are not earning enough money, and this has been a problem for decades. I'm going to show you some figures kind of explaining why I think that this is a whole book and not the last chapter. My motivation in doing so is not to, be that like... Actually, it's not just prices, and just kind of explain to you what you don't know, but rather we will never effectively design solutions if we do not correctly diagnose the problem. And there is a danger to ignoring the wage and income side, of just focusing on housing, on just focusing on supply of housing, on just focusing on the supply of housing in certain localities that have environmental restrictions on certain building policies. That is, a myopic view at one of the symptoms when the larger problem is structural issues in our economy that have produced the affordability crisis we have now. And if we don't address them, they'll produce another one, some other manifestation, but it'll come back around again. So why does the United States have an affordability crisis? Because people don't earn enough money. And when I say they don't earn enough money, I'm saying that as a share of the economy, the compensation of workers has fallen since around 1970. So this series, which is from the Bureau of Economic Analysis that includes GDP, shows the share of our gross domestic income that goes to the compensation of employees. Okay, so let's start. The series begins in 1929. Way down here when the share of compensation falls below 50%. And I think that this is an obvious but necessary point to make. We never want our economy to look like 1929. It's not a good year to be compared to or alike in almost any way. So during the Start of the Great Depression in 1929, compensation of employees falls below 50% as the U.S. experiences a minimum of 25%, but probably upwards of 35% unemployment. For the rest of the 1930s, it stabilizes at around 52%. Now, through the expansion of the war production boom and through the mid-century, it continues to rise, hits a peak, and then starting in 1970, kind of through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 20s, it falls down. And we are now, so when I say Americans have an affordability crisis, and that's a book you need to read cover to cover, here's the start of the book. We earn more, we earn more, we earn more, and we earn less and less and less till we get to 2024 when Americans take home as a share of total compensation as a share of the total economy, 51.9%, which is what we earned in the 30s. We are nearing a century low of how much money is going to workers. Now, that graph I just showed you is made up of two components: the cash that workers bring home and their non-cash fringe compensation. This is fringe compensation. You'll notice they follow two different patterns. So fringe compensation, I got to keep going back. Fringe compensation has just been rising as we add things like health insurance and retirement benefits to workers' paychecks, compensation, not paychecks. But we add health and retirement, and you can see it. And this is mainly health and retirement over time. Some would say it's health. Some would say it's more retirement. It's health. And it reaches around 10%, and then it's also fallen over the last couple of years. This includes some other things too, including taxes. But what's driving the growth over time and the shape of it is health and retirement, and really the spiraling healthcare costs that workers face. Some of you are probably savvy enough to pick up on a severe problem here, which is the number of people that have no fringe benefits. So the amount of compensation that Americans are bringing home is increasingly reliant on a compensation that not all workers get, like health and retirement at their job. But this is the real problem. This is just the amount that workers take home in cash. So not fringe, just the money that you take to the bank on your paycheck. It starts at around 50% of the economy, and then it just continually craters since around 1970. And we are where we are now, which is a low kind of Great Recession, and now just this incredible low in the amount of cash paid to workers. A lot of these bumps are recessions. But yeah, that's the problem. I mean, the affordability crisis for me is this trend of workers taking less money home. Now, conservatives fundamentally disagree with this point that Americans are earning even relatively less money compared to the size of the economy overall. And what they would point out is that line that I show you is compensation as a share of gross domestic income. It's a notoriously volatile series of gross domestic income because it's not net income, it's gross income. It includes expenses that people pay in our economy. So GDP is the value of all the things we buy. GDI, gross domestic income, is basically everything that we earned. But it's because it's gross as opposed to net, it includes things like depreciation. And so if you're looking at something that's a share of a total denominator, what's in the denominator can make a difference over time and move the share of the top relative to the bottom. That's a long way of saying that they would tell you that the reason why wage compensation looks like it's falling is because of other things going on in the series, like depreciation getting higher. What I would push back if they said that the income loss to workers is a function of other things going on in the series is that series and economic measurement affecting worker income has not affected corporate income. And for the last 4 years are the highest corporate income shares on record. And corporate income is unaffected by the rest of the series. And it is taking home, the highest corporate income we've seen for as long as we've recorded it have been the last 4 years. And that is not affected by the series choice or the denominator. So when workers make too little money in this comparison, it's because the series is goofy. But when companies make more money in this comparison, that's just different. So I take this comparison of labor share of income with a grain of salt because every data has its own caveats. But I think if you look at the diverging paths of worker income and corporate income, it paints a pretty clear picture of what has happened in the U.S. over the past 70 years. That doesn't mean that we know how to make sense of it, that we know exactly what caused it, or we know exactly what to do about it. But we do know that the amount of money that workers bring home has been falling. And the affordability crisis is a function of that as much as it is housing over the last 2 years. We have to make a shift in our economy of how workers are paid. And I think that it makes the problem seem bigger. But of course, that invites a solution that is bolder and one that will address the problems we have. And yeah, affordability is much bigger than price when you remember that it's about income. And when it comes to incomes, we have work to do, work that needs doing.
I seen people saying stuff like, oh, well, you know, we need to go on strike. Everything's unaffordable. We need to do something. People already have. People already stopped paying their bills because they quite literally couldn't afford it. People ask all the time, well, what do you do when everything's too expensive? People just stop paying for stuff. And you want to know why they stop paying for things? Because those people have figured out that if everyone can afford something, then everyone can't get punished. And this is especially being seen in housing. There are so many houses for sale currently, and no one's buying them. And people are putting the houses for sale because they can't afford the mortgages anymore. So since no one's buying their houses and they can't afford the mortgages, you know what they're just not doing? They're just not paying on it. And it's so many people not paying their mortgages that the bank cannot even process them for foreclosure. People are 6-8 months behind, and the banks don't know what to do, because here's the thing. If they process all of these people for foreclosure, now there's an alarm that goes off that says that there's a housing crisis. If there's a housing crisis, people panic. When people panic, then everything goes to shit. So they're trying to ignore the problem because they don't want to admit that there's an affordability crisis. And I guarantee you, from all that's happening, you're going to see people coming online and saying they got approved for houses that they know they can't afford for some.
And younger people are trying to buy these same houses at a much higher interest rate. But here's the part people are going to argue with me about. Just lowering rates isn't the only answer. If you make money cheap again, but don't build enough houses, you could just build more buyers fighting over the same limited supply and push prices even higher. America needs both, more attained housing and cheaper capital. Builders need to be able to build, and normal working people need to be able to afford what we're building. Housing affordability should be treated like a nationally economic problem because it really is.
The economy has gotten so bad that I've literally started stealing again. Like, guys, look, I don't be stealing like crazy. I had like my kleptomaniac era sophomore year of high school, but now I'm a sophomore in college, so I have a little more decorum. But like, I went to the grocery store to get a bunch of groceries. It was like $53 fucking dollars. And like, there was one thing that I wanted, but I was like, I know I can't add this and afford it. So I put it in my pocket. Like in high school, like my sophomore year of high school, like I used to steal shit all the fucking time. But like I stopped because like I got a job. I'm an adult now. But like this economy's actually gotten so bad that like I have started like pocketing some groceries when I go to the store. Digital footprint. Hopefully the police don't fucking catch me.
One thing that I love that we've been on the same page about is not paying them goddamn bills. Like, I just love how everybody is just opting out. I'm seeing more and more creators talk about how they haven't paid their car notes and they haven't paid their credit card bills. And I don't mean that in a certain type of way. I mean that in a way of, I'm glad that we're finally saying, you know what? Fuck them bills. Like, America will figure out the debts. We don't care. More and more people aren't paying their mortgages to the point that they have so many people on the foreclosure list that they don't know what to do. They don't know where to start. And I'm not gonna lie, it's stuff like that that I feel like is gonna bring change to the economy. Us doing everything together. Everybody saying no. Like, I definitely feel like there's gonna be a change.
Donald Trump has tried to fill the holes of most Americans financially, and well, it hasn't gone to plan. New polling has confirmed that for the first time since Donald Trump took office, a majority of them
really kicks off now that they closed out the Strait of Hormuz. And Larry Lepard was correct. The big print is coming, so get ready for a little bit of inflation.
Can someone enter the chat that isn't living paycheck to paycheck? And how are you doing that? Because by my calculations, it seems like we're all living paycheck to paycheck no matter what income class you are. If you ain't filthy rich, you're living paycheck to paycheck.
I'm not suicidal, but like, I am tired. I'm ready for my soul to be set free. I don't give a fuck about money. I don't give a fuck about fame. I don't give a fuck about the politics or whatever. All this fucking shit I really don't give a fuck about. Like, I'm just so tired of all these responsibilities I never asked for. I'm tired of living in survival mode. I'm tired of living in what feels like the fucking Matrix. Like, I'm genuinely fucking tired. I'm learning how to stay present, to enjoy life, focus on what I can control, but like, at the end of the day, I'm not afraid of death. Whenever and however it happens, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see what's next or, finally be set free, be at peace.
I don't know who can relate, but man, I'm tired. I'm tired both physically and mentally. I'm tired of things not working out in my life. And if you feel the same, I just want to let you know that you're not alone. You know, people always say life is full of up and downs. My life has been full of downs only. If you ask me to name 3 best and happiest moments of my life, I actually have to think about it. And it's not me being negative. You don't know me. But if you ask people who know me, they will tell you I'm one of the strongest people you've ever met. I'm one of the most positive people you've ever met. I always tell people, trust God. Trust His plans for you. God is great. Good days are coming. Bad days are temporary. Trust the process. But even the strong people like myself break down time to time. So you're not a...
You're making $20 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant, right? Is that 6 figures? Are you making?
No, making 40 grand.
40K a year.
Yeah.
So, and then if your husband or wife is also there, you're making $100,000 as a family.
Sure.
Both working at McDonald's.
80 grand.
That is okay. That's crazy. That is crazy. Because that job really doesn't require much.
There's a difference between 80,000 and 100,000, and the fact that you do not realize that 40,000 times 2 is 80,000 and not 100,000, we should not be taking your advice when it comes to money, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to any of these things, because you do not know what you're talking about. You go on to say that the value of a Happy Meal is going up, and we are paying people more because we're already paying people $40,000 to work at McDonald's, so that's why prices are becoming so expensive. But the reason prices are becoming expensive is because inflation. Inflation was 4% last year. There's also so much price gouging going on. There's so much corruption. There is so many things. And it's the people at the top that are taking the money. It is not the people at the bottom. Paying someone $40,000 a year to work for McDonald's is not the reason prices are high. If anything, we need to raise these wages because these people can't afford to live on a McDonald's wage.
Y'all, let me tell y'all what the fuck just happened. So a debt collector calls me. I'm not even ashamed of it because it's for medical bills. Nobody can afford health care here in America. So she called me for some tests I had done last year, and she was like, "Hey, I'm here to collect this debt," and da 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 da. I was like, "Ma'am, I definitely do not have this payment right now, but I would love to set up a payment plan." She was like, "Okay, cool." She was like, "Can you do like 177? I mean, could you do $144 a month?" I was like, to be honest, no, not right now. I was like, but can I sign up for the lowest payment plan? I will have this thing paid off at the end of the year because I get a bonus that will cover this whole thing. Bitch laughs. At the end of the year, it's April. I said, I'm aware of that, but I cannot afford that payment right now. But it will. So she was like, well, could you do 77 every 2 weeks? I said, if I couldn't do 144 every month, I can't do 77 every 2 weeks right now. So no. So then anyways, we come up with a payment plan. And so she asked me, she was like, do you have a job? I said, yes, I have a job. And she was like, oh, okay. So then anyways, so I'm getting ready to give her my account information so we can do automatic payments. And she was like, do you like where you work? I said, it pays the bills. This bitch said, barely. What the fuck? You called me to collect a debt over some medical bills? And you fucking laugh and say barely? Bitch, gas is $4.36. And you over here think it's fucking funny to play with me? I said, do you know that you a real asshole? Because what the fuck was that? And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I just mean like nobody can afford it. Girl, fuck you. Girl, fuck you. Like, I just could not believe I experienced some shit like that. That was so fucked up and completely insensitive.
I ain't gonna lie to you, gang. God just need to burn this bitch. Once and for all. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of the people that's living on this motherfucker. I'm sick of all these motherfucking wars and shit starting. I'm sick of the world leaders. I'm sick of the world going to shit. I'm sick of every goddamn body. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them. I'm sick of you. Like, just burn this bitch. Don't even think about making another one. Just burn this motherfucker or flood this bitch. Because apparently motherfuckers didn't lost their motherfucking rapid ass mind. It gotta be in their left mind because they can't be in their right. All this talk about 50-50, men should do this, women should do this, men should do this. I'm sick of this shit. We need each other. If y'all can't understand that, burn. Bitches want providers and shit. Bitches feel like they gotta up and up on everything. Yeah, nah. The dating pool is trash. Burn it. And everybody feels so goddamn entitled nowadays. That's another fucking problem. I'm just so tired, gang. I'm finna go back to sleep.
So, okay. I'm not
and they're telling you that they can't be admitted to the hospital because they have to get back to work tomorrow. Have someone that works at a tree service chop off the tip of their finger, tell you to wrap it up, discharge you so they can get back to work tomorrow. This economy is crap. People can't even be sick and stay at home and recover because they're worried about not paying their bills.
So right before a major financial crash or major economic crash, you're going to start to see the prices of assets and stocks soar in an unexplainable way. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't follow any of the fundamentals, any of the rules of finance or money. And that's when you know that a crash is right around the corner. Like, I mean, we're right there. And I think that's happening right now.
I'm really sick and tired of being lectured by millionaires about how we shouldn't complain about the fact that basic parts of life just 10 years ago are now unattainable luxuries. I am 35 years old. I remember $6 Chipotle burritos. I spent college eating $5 footlongs and items off the dollar menu at McDonald's. Look at me, I went there a lot. For the past 20 years, life in America has both plummeted, while at the same time getting more expensive. You don't notice it day by day, but if you compare the life now in America to the life that I had at 20, these things that were once considered a crappy meal that you and your friends pooled your money for is now a $20 luxury. You shouldn't put up with it, and you shouldn't beg people like this to solve problems that they clearly don't care about. Instead, pack your bags, move abroad, and become a digital nomad. It's cheaper and better. Going to Asia is such a radicalizing experience because everything there is cheaper, higher quality, and cleaner. America is the land of the free, but what about my freedom to go to work without being attacked by a homeless drug addict on the street? It's still a fraction of the price and way better quality. And you ask yourself, why can't we have this in America? The answer is simple, because the people ruling our country hate you so much, they don't even think you deserve a Chipotle burrito. Okay then, become a digital nomad and leave.
During COVID, Americans treated the economy like a national emergency. Borrowing costs collapsed, and people like me were refinancing mortgages into that 2% range. Now we have another national problem that we've been had. America is millions of homes short, approximately 4 million. Home prices exploded.
I need your support. Thanks.
Facts are facts. The most affordable places to live in America are the places with the fewest Democrats in office. The safest places to live in America are the places with the fewest Democrat voters.
Vanny, I don't know if you know what facts actually are. What defines safety to you? To me, it would be a low murder or homicide rate. You can talk about petty crime all day, but I would say the murder rate, the homicide rate in a particular area would be what determines safety to me. And in every year this century, red states have a higher murder rate per capita than blue states. Every year, and not by a small margin. In 21 and 22, 33% higher in red states than blue states. As far as affordability, it's a pretty complex and nuanced issue, something that is not really in MAGA's skill set, but let me just try to summarize it by this. The more desirable an area, not only because of weather, because of education and proximity to opportunity, industry, commerce, the more people that live there, the cost of living is going to go up, but also the wages are going to be higher too. And when you put a bunch of people together, they tend to vote Democrat. Even in the reddest of states, the cities are blue. Boise, Idaho votes blue. So the bottom line is the more people there are, they vote Democrat. And the more desirable an area, there's going to be more people. And that is going to raise the cost of living. So it's going to be more expensive to be in a more desirable area.
Like that is telling. Hello?
I just got rejected from Walmart as a cashier. What the fuck is so wrong with the job market that I have a bachelor's degree? Not only do I have a bachelor's degree, I spent 4 years on a bachelor's. I went back to school because, I mean, go get your master's, go get further education. That'll really get you a spot in the job market solidified. There's no way it won't because America tells you, oh yes, college will get you that job. Don't you worry, miss. Walmart will not accept me. If I wasn't doing shit with brands on side shift, I would be living in a ditch. I'd be dead. I would be dead. Because even if I got a job, it probably wouldn't even pay me enough. Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing to make money right now? Spill me the secret sauce. Because I am absolutely serious that if I wasn't doing UGC that anyone could do, I'd be dead.
The second most expensive country on earth for healthcare is Switzerland, at 10 grand per person per year. America's spending 15 per body, so we're paying 50% more than the country in second place. We're paying Ferrari prices for a Kia that doesn't start. For all that money, life expectancy in Switzerland is 84.5. In America, it's 77. Dead last among wealthy countries. American women die in childbirth almost 7 times the rate of Swiss women. Our infant mortality doubles Finland's. We're paying gold-plated prices for a Groupon experience and calling it a system. And even at 15 grand a body, more than 1 in 4 Americans skipped care last year because they couldn't afford it. 21% skipped their prescriptions. So we are the most expensive and the least accessible. That takes effort. Genuinely impressive. It's hard to lose at both. Somewhere in Toronto, a Canadian is watching this and choking on his morning coffee, wondering how the hell we let this happen. Great question, Blake. Great question.
I'm tired, and I feel like that is the phrase that so many grievers hold on to. And it's not a tired from not being able to sleep, because I know so many of us barely sleep or wake up multiple times through the night. No, this tired is an exhaustion. It is a physical exhaustion from having to carry a weight that we never thought we were able to carry, from having to put on a brave face everywhere we go and act like everything is fine, and deep down inside of us we're missing someone so desperately. It's living in memories constantly and then coming to and seeing that reality, they no longer exist here. Or going about your day and having a good day and then realizing they are not here anymore. It's forgetting that they're gone. And then it just crumbles you and crushes you back to a point where your heart is so broken that you have to pick up the pieces once again and continue on. I preach a lot of messages of hope, and I preach a lot of messages of finding faith in Jesus, because this strength that we have is not of ourselves, and we can't do this alone. I mean, I am tired every single day, and I know every single one of us hurts. And a lot of these things that I talk about are for me too, because God is the only thing getting me through. I am exhausted most of my days. And those moments where you do feel okay, you almost feel guilt for being okay because they're not here to enjoy those moments. You're trying your best to juggle everything from finances to your kids to keeping the house up, taking care of everything around you. And it becomes so exhausting that all you can tell people is, I'm tired. Well, I can tell you that I continue to do this, but it's not by my own strength. And I know that there are so many that are so angry, so upset with God. But what I can tell you is when you go to Him, He gives you strength that you didn't even know you had. He gets you through these storms, because even if you aren't talking to Him right now, even if you don't want to address Him, He's still right there in the storm, just waiting for you to ask Him for help, to talk to Him, to maybe make sense of the situation, because really, we're never going to make sense of it. It's hard, but He has an understanding that far exceeds anything we'll ever understand. But I know this, that I'm a little less tired when I go to God and speak to Him and have Him help me through this. And He helps me carry it. So I'm just telling you, if you're tired like I am, just go to Him and allow Him to lighten the burden just a little bit. So I hope this helped, and I hope you have a great day.
Many of you know I live in an RV, and many of you know I always talk shit and brag about how cheap my rent is. On one of my videos in the comments, I couldn't reply to it for some reason, but someone was like, how are poor people supposed to live? And then somebody responded to their comment and they were like, get an RV like she said. And the person said, that's very expensive. And yes, you're right, but I just want you to think of it like this. So I got my RV on Facebook Marketplace for under $10,000. Now, if I were to be renting an apartment for a full year, so for 12 months, we're going to do some quick math here. So if I was renting an apartment for 12 months and let's say the rent is $1,000, okay? So what's 1,000 times 12? Yep, that's $12,000. Personally, I could never afford $1,000 a month rent. I just physically and mentally could not come up with that money. At least not yet. Maybe one day. My business is starting to really take off. But my point is, the way my brain works is I think January to December, that is $12,000 that I will have to give somebody for a place to live for a full year. Now, I bought this RV for under $10,000. So this RV was less than $10,000. But I own this RV. I'm the owner of this RV. I don't rent out this RV. I rent out a spot to park the RV so I can plug the RV into plumbing, electricity, water, etc. So that's why I pay $400 a month plus my electricity bill, which usually is expensive because I always have the TV on and I always have, like, I don't know, I just use so much of my electricity somehow. So my bill usually comes to about $500-ish. But my point is, no matter where you live, if you buy land, if you buy a house, if you rent an apartment, if you have an RV, you're gonna have to pay something to live, honey. That's just the world we live in. But personally, for me, it's just a lot more doable for me to pay $500 a month. But like I said, the people paying $1,000 for an apartment for a full year, they're paying what, $12,000, right? I'm paying half of that. I'm only paying $6,000 a year so that I can have water, electricity, and plumbing. I also own this vehicle, so I can't get evicted. And if I want to get up and move and drive to an RV park in California, I can do that. Personally, I just think this is the best idea for me, maybe not for you, but I think a lot of young people should consider this because if you're paying $12,000 a year to live in an apartment that you don't even own, then honey, how are you ever going to save for a house? How are you ever going to save for your future? In my experience, it's just a lot easier to save money when you're paying less rent. When I was homeless living in a motel, it was like $1,200 a month to stay in a Motel 6. So that was the closest thing I ever did to paying rent. I will say that was the hardest time of my life. I physically could not come up with $1,200 every single month. But $500, I can do that. That's very doable for me. But you know what? That's just me. That was just some, fruit for thought or whatever.
I know things look bad now, but just wait until the upcoming energy crisis.
Americans now believe that their finances have actually worsened instead of getting better since Donald Trump took office. That's significant. A new Focal Data Financial Times poll confirms that 53% of registered voters in the United States of America feel worse off today than they did under Biden. 57% of those independents believe that they are worse off, and almost a quarter of Republicans feel as though they are worse off. 2/3 polled believe America's economy is heading in the wrong direction, and just 25% say that it is heading in the right direction. Donald Trump was elected primarily to fix America's pocketbooks, to make sure that Americans are keeping more money. It's not happening. Not at all. And Americans are furious heading into the midterm elections where the economy is and will be on the ballot. Spread the word, follow for more. A horrible morning for the economy. The economy just got hit with a massive gut punch. In July, the United States economy lost 23,000 jobs. For perspective, economists predicted that the economy would gain 85,000 jobs. That's a 100,000 job delta right there. It is the third biggest month for job losses since 2020. The unemployment rate actually somehow fell to 4.1%, but not just that. The June job market was revised down another 37,000 jobs. Economists are calling these numbers a, quote, big kick in the guts because we are actively losing jobs in a stagnant economy. Americans can't get a job, let alone a good paying job. And the jobs that are open and that are hiring right now, you have hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of applicants for one role. Good luck. Spread the word. Follow along, stay update on all the news you need to know about. More updates coming soon.
Like being in your 20s now, we are so different from the 20s that our parents were experiencing and our grandparents because, the economy and things are so different. And I was saying how it's because they had way more capital. They could do a lot more with $40,000 a year. Whereas like now, $40,000 a year, girl, where you living? You're living in a shoebox. And I think like a prime example of this, obviously there's so many people who experience this, is like, I have a master's degree. A master's degree I got at 22, and I can't use it because the jobs that are set for this master's degree are being defunded. Public health care. Big shock. I wonder why that's being defunded. What's ironic about it is like education is used as this tool to gain more capital, to move up socially and economically and in class, right? In the past, it has been, if you get a PhD, a master's, in a college degree, you are typically at a standing point that's better than someone who's not in those education brackets, right? Whereas like now, they're blockading education because everything costs so much money. You have crippling student loan debt, and then you can't get a job to pay off that student loan debt. And so I think it's more than just, oh, your parents had more capital, your parents were able to do a lot with a college degree. It's even the degrees you have now are not useless. I'm not going to say don't get your education. I don't regret getting my master's, but they don't even offer or create spaces for that because everything is like, oh, well, I want 70 hours of experience in this specific thing. Meanwhile, okay, but I did my master's degree and I have 100 plus, God knows 200 plus hours within this realm, but you don't take that because it's not work experience because I was getting an education and I wasn't working. Does that make sense?
This economy is so bad. You all think you're bad with money when all you did was buy groceries. Not luxury groceries, not free courses and a drink. Just the basic requirements of staying alive and well. Because somewhere along the way, eating 3 times a day became a premium subscription. I used to walk into a supermarket and think, what do I want to eat this week? Now I walk in thinking, what can I afford to financially recover from? I leave with buyer's remorse from purchasing eggs. Groceries used to be the most neutral thing ever. You went in, bought the food you needed, and left. That was the whole transaction. Now every shopping trip feels like a financial audit. You'll tap your card and then immediately open your banking app, like you've just committed your first crime. And the worst part is, everyone always gives the same advice, like just budget better. But the economy already budgeted my lifestyle for me, so I'm not the one in control anymore. Yeah, it's not that I'm bad with money, it's that money is becoming increasingly difficult to be good with. In fact, these days, the biggest financial mistake you can make is having to eat.
It's happening, right? It's happening. We are in massive change. You know this. You can feel it in your body. You can feel that something isn't right and something more difficult is coming. I believe that we as a human race are sitting in liminal time right now because the new way that we're going to live as a human race on this planet cannot be known. Because everything we're experiencing right now, even especially in 2026 with the rise of AI, is unknown. Now, we can look back to history and see other falls of civilizations or changes in civilizations, and we can do some comparisons, but it's not been like this before, which means it's unknown. And a lot of people are feeling this unease about what's coming. And I get it. If you listen to any well-known psychic or channeler, they are telling you that there is a new world that is going to be birthed. And I hear a lot of like unity consciousness, new earth, and that might be true. I don't know. I don't receive information like that specifically, so I don't know. But I can say that if you are feeling this very unsettled feeling, then it's okay to acknowledge that we as a human race are in the liminal, which means rules are kind of going out the window. If there's ever been a time for you to truly shed and get rid of what the fuck you've been told you should do and how to do it by the rule makers that none of us now trust, or society's way of, especially women, should be, if you haven't realized yet that that was all fake and false, then you should stop doing it now. If you're sitting in liminal space and we don't know what's coming next, we don't know how any of this is going to work next, then you should fuck the rules. Go deeper into what feels good for you now. Yes, research. Yes, do your knowledge seeking if you must. Yes, prepare. Yes, all those things. But really go all in on your joy, on your magic, on your spiritual gifts. Tune in more and deeper. Even though I know we also have to pay our bills, so everybody's still going to be doing some sort of the normal stuff, but the rest of it, the things that you've been told you should do and how to do it and how to look and how to be, fuck all of that. You already know that there are no rules anymore. We are living in liminal space, which means no rules apply. If that's the case, then what can you do? Yeah. If you want more like this, make sure you register for Sacred Sundays. I'm going live again this Sunday. You do have to register, but it is totally free. You can find the link in my profile.
Guys, I'm so tired. Like, I am so tired and mentally and physically exhausted. And I just don't know why. Like, I feel like this is a very collective thing. I think everyone is feeling so physically and mentally drained where you now struggle to even have a conversation with somebody. Like, I struggle to hold conversations with people now because of how deflated I feel. And it could be anything. It could literally be anything. I don't know what it can be, right? Because there's so many things happening in life right now, but alhamdulillah always. And I try not to complain too much because God has granted me the best life. Like, I always think about the people in Gaza. I always think about the people in Lebanon, the people that are really struggling, that are suffering. I have no right to complain. Wallahi, this is not me trying to get attention. This is just me, like, I guess being vulnerable online and just, I don't know, like, I guess reaching out to anyone else that feels the same way. What's your reason for it? Do you know if there's a reason for it? Is there a underlying cause? Because I don't know. I'm just tired. May Allah protect us all. I hate my life. I am so tired of doing this rat race. I pretend like I have it all together, but I don't. I'm so tired of going into work, pretending like there's a purpose, but there isn't. I'm not happy with my career. I'm not happy with my relationships, friends, family. I feel so lost, and I'm looking for change. I'm Dolly, and this is Macy. So I'm giving this 30 days. Only 30 days to change. And if not, I'll go back to my job, continue on, and just do the life. But I feel like I can do this. And I need some help. If that sounds like maybe something you'd want to follow along with and see how you can change your life too, let's give this a go. I like golf. I like going to the gym, going for walks with Macy. Please follow along because
reason the banks are just approving them. If y'all think '08 was bad, you haven't seen nothing yet.
Welcome back to another part of You Can't Afford a Nanny. Urgent live-in nanny needed. Located in blank. Start date no later than August 31st. No flexibility. Pay $1,900 a month. Schedule Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. We are seeking a reliable, nurturing, and experienced live-in nanny with a genuine passion for children. This position is primarily focused on caring for a newborn, with additional household responsibilities. The family: 2 children, newborn, and 4-year-old. 4-year-old attends school Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Majority of care will be focused on the newborn. Responsibilities: newborn care and daily routine, light housekeeping related to the children, and household. Meal preparation, family errands, school drop-off and pickup, 1 designated deep cleaning day. Maintaining a clean and organized household. Supporting the family's daily routine. Live-in accommodations provided as part of the position. Requirements: must be available to start by August 31st, must have a valid driver's license, must be authorized to work in the United States, must be able to successfully pass a background check. Must have reliable driving experience, must have experience caring for children, preferably newborns. Must be dependable, professional, nurturing, and proactive. Must be comfortable with a live-in arrangement. Must be willing to commit to a full schedule. This is an urgent placement. There's no flexibility on the start date or a required schedule. Only applicants who meet all requirements will be considered. To apply, send your resume, childcare experience, availability, and brief introduction explaining why you would be a great fit for this family. No need to express interest. This is not a great fit or a good opportunity. People really need to get it through their heads that having a live-in nanny in your home is a luxury. Yes, it's a perk to the nanny to have room and board covered. It's great sometimes. It is not fun living with work, but not having to cover rent, awesome. $1,900 a month looks more than it is, but you have to consider you're working Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6. That is 11-hour days, 6 days a week. $1,900 a month, 11-hour days, 66 hours a week. This is a take-home of $6.63 an hour. And this is the role of a live-in nanny providing newborn and early elementary toddler care, as well as cleaning and deep cleaning of the home. A role like this in which you're expecting childcare and housekeeping, this is easily $28 an hour if you're providing childcare for multiple children and housekeeping. So the fact that they aren't even offering minimum wage, this is not a good opportunity for anyone. If you want to hire an employee in your home, you need to be prepared to properly compensate. And if all you can afford is less than minimum wage and opening up your home to someone else, you can't afford to hire that nanny. Nannies, live-in nannies, they are not around to absorb your financial burden so that you don't have to feel it. If you want an employee, you need to properly compensate. And if that's something you are not able to do, having a private employee in your home is not the option available.
This isn't a video I've ever planned on making, but I don't know what to do. In 2025, I sat my leaving cert and I got the course I wanted in Galway. Since then, I've had to work full time because I cannot afford a place in Galway to stay. Just with obviously how incredibly bad the market is for rentals or even student accommodation. This is so embarrassing. I've missed out on friends. I've missed out on so much. And I worked so hard looking for somewhere that I can stay so I can go to college. I have applied everywhere on Daft, everywhere on Rentally. I've went into agencies and I've gone to viewings and it's just nothing is working. I even got a place in a private student accommodation called Swade's Suites. And I've been on that waiting list since like 2024, 2025. And I got a spot for a little studio, which would have been perfect. There is no option to pay in monthly installments, even though they're asking for 12 grand. Obviously, student accommodation is expensive for the 9 months, which was something I just couldn't do. My partner, who is working full time, is trying to support me to get there and he wants to come with me. So that is a big help, obviously, to trying to afford an apartment or somewhere for us to stay. We also, through like these groups on Facebook that try to help people find places, met this lovely couple who are also really struggling to look for a place that we could be roommates with. So for income, there's been 5 viewings of apartments. I have sent easily hundreds of emails and not one has offered a place. I get left unopened or told that the slot has been filled, or straight away get a job up in Galway and just move, just go so I can go to college in September. And I've been putting off like explaining this story to my TikTok because I didn't want work or my works to know that I was leaving to go to college in September. But I don't care anymore because I have been trying so hard the past nearly year to make something of myself, move out, go to college, and I just feel short of advice. If anybody knows anything that could help, that would be great. Like, I've saved, I've tried, I've applied, and I'm doing everything I can. But as I said, nothing seems to be working. And I did not want to come to this, but I just don't know what to do. This just shows how fucked up the country of Ireland is for young people not having a chance at all. And I don't care for the judgy people who are gonna share and show everybody that she's crying on the internet. This is reality. This is reality, and it's so unfair.
Hi, everyone. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, and you may have seen some reporting that long-term bond yields are spiking. And this is raising alarm bells because in normal times, this would not be the case. Let's talk about it. For background, 30-year bond yields hit 5.311% on Monday, so yesterday, and this is the highest level since June of 2007. This comes on the heels of economic data last week that showed that retail sales are weakening, as is the labor market. And here's why these two things do not make sense. Normally, when investors are worried about a recession or weakening of the economy, they flock to treasuries because it is a safe place for money. And this higher demand typically leads to higher bond prices, which actually makes yields fall. But instead, the yields are rising, which tells us that investors are worried about inflation and the government debt. And investors are requiring a higher yield on bonds to compensate for this risk. And the Treasury Department also reported that foreign holdings of U.S. Treasuries fell in June, with the UK, China, and Japan all reducing their holdings. And when demand goes down, the bond prices fall and the yield spikes. And my 2 cents is that the demand for U.S. debt is going to continue to fall, and this will put further pressure on borrowing costs. And the higher the bond yields go, the more pressure this will put on the U.S. stock market, regardless of what actions the Fed does or does not take. And as Warsh said, this is a classic example of letting the markets speak. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about what the bond market is telling us. And please like, share, and follow for more updates.
And I feel like in this world we live in, bro, I feel like the type of world that we live in doesn't really fit the reality that we live in. Like, we got everybody's bills going up. Nobody's getting pay raises, but everybody's bills, light, gas, rent, mortgage, no insurance, everything getting higher, but nobody's getting raises. But if we go sell weed on the side, y'all tell me, oh, you out here breaking the law and it wasn't that serious, bitch. My rent, $3,800. My rent is $2,800. My job is only paying me, goddamn it, $1,400 a week, every other week. I gotta pay all these other bills. How the hell I'm gonna do this and that and the third if I'm only making $2,800 for a month and my rent is $2,800? What the hell I'm supposed to pay my light, gas, and all that, bitch? Well, I gotta go and sell it. Now I gotta sell it and make an OnlyFans because this economy don't fit what everybody is what the jobs is doing. I feel like everything should be connected. If y'all gonna raise my mortgage or raise everybody in the neighborhood's mortgage or raise everybody's rent because this and that is getting higher, well, raise my paychecks as well. So this world isn't connected, bro. You will literally have millions of dollars and people will turn you down because of a felony you caught when you were 17 or 18 and you're 32. You're 32, they talking about that gun charge you caught 12 years ago. Like, that is not even a reflection of who I am at this point. I didn't have kids, responsibilities, nothing 12, 13, 14 years ago. And now I have this money and I'm trying to be a responsible adult and y'all are turning me around and not letting me put myself in a position to succeed because something that happened when I was a child.
So, like, when is the economy going to just go ahead and crash already? Because I just saw a video talking about how, like, people in our generation, they can't afford pets anymore. The economy is so bad, people can't afford pets. Like, it was one thing when it was like, oh, people aren't having kids, it's too expensive. Everyone looked at that like, okay, yeah, kids are expensive. Lots of things. There's clothes, food, college. It's a whole life, a whole full person's life, you know? But, like, we don't even have money for pets? Like, why are we doing anything? Why is anyone leaving their house in the morning? Why are we showing up to work at all?
The economy is robbing me blind every step of the way. For example, go to dollar store, there's supposed to be lawn chairs, buy one, get one free. We get up to the counter. I happen to say, because there's also no screens where you can keep track, you know, so they're just ringing this stuff up and I don't know. So I say, hey, did my lawn chair discount come off? He says, lawn chairs aren't on sale. I said, well, you've got a whole rack of them sitting outside with a buy one, get one free sign on it. And he was like, no, I don't think so. Goes out and checks, comes back in and says, oh, my bad. You're right. They are buy one, get one free, and takes off the discount. At that same store, it was also $5 off 25, Dollar General. And my coupon didn't come off. And he had to go back and take that off. So there's $10 there. We go to Petco, and this wasn't all in one day. These are just examples. We go to Petco. The total's a little high. I actually can see the screen, and she's rang the dog food up twice. I said, I think you rang the dog food up twice. She looks at, oh, wow, I did. Takes it off. We go to Rural King. I get a 3-pound thing of honey that's supposed to be half off. $14.99 regular, $7.50 on sale. I get again, can't see what they're ringing up. They're, you're just in la la land wondering. I look at the receipt, it says $14.99. I have to go back and get my $7.50. So, if you're a person that doesn't keep track of what you're spending as you go along, and if you're a person that thinks that just because it says a price, it's going to ring up that, and if you're a person that doesn't check your receipt or care about going back and getting what was taken from you, then you're losing a lot of money, because I'm a person that checks all this and I'm losing some money. And it's ridiculous, because we're living in a world where we're paying more money for worse products. We've got people crashing out over International Delight creamer bottles and caps, which I wondered why you couldn't just use your old cap and put it on the other bottle, or even better, save the whole bottle and just pour new bottle into old bottle. Problem solved. But it's the principle that everything is going to shit, and they just expect us to pay for it. There's chicken being left in bags on a counter for 6 months that isn't rotting or molding or doing anything. Vegetables and fruit taste like nothing. Yeah. How do we enjoy our life whenever they're robbing us and poisoning us? Guess you just got to look for the silver lining, guys. All right. I'm working a job today I don't want to, so I'm trying to find the silver lining, but it's going to be a boring day. Ta-ta for now.
When the 08 crash happened, over people not being able to pay their mortgages anymore, the U.S. government bailed out the banks, and it never made sense to me why people weren't able to keep their houses, considering they were now paid off. Like, the banks just got to keep the money, and it was extra weird to me because it was U.S. taxpayer dollars. It seems like the taxpayers should have been able to keep their houses. I always just assumed that it was some sort of like complex financial reason that I didn't understand. But then 5 years ago, I was listening to Jon Stewart on a podcast, and he actually knew the answer to this. And it was because of this concept of moral hazard. So all the rich people in charge of the banks and the government decided it would teach us the wrong lesson if they let us keep our houses. And so they were trying to teach us a lesson. They literally thought that if they let people keep their houses and bailed out their mortgages, that they would be more likely to take out risky loans that they had no intention of paying back in the future. That podcast episode, I can't remember where it is. Otherwise, I'd find it and show it to you. Is my Roman Empire, just because of how outraged. Like, I think about this at least once a week. I bring all this up now because I just saw a video on TikTok of somebody using the word P-class instead of E-class to describe all these rich weirdos that we're learning about in the files. It made me stop because I don't think E is the only person, right? So the P word is probably a better use because it encompasses a lot more people. But it got me thinking, the moral hazard is being a billionaire. It's not that all these sick freaks and just coincidentally ended up being billionaires. It's that being a billionaire turns you into a sick freak.
Is anybody just over everything and everybody? As you can tell by my damn head, I am tired of every fucking thing. Everything irritates the hell out of me, and I want to be left alone.
I just got denied a job from Target. I have a bachelor's degree. I spent 4 years on a bachelor's degree. And then my parents in great America told me, get your master's degree because it will make you stand out more and you'll get job security because you have so much education that not a lot of people have. I can't get a cashier's job. I can't even get a minimum wage job. If I wasn't making money on side shift doing UGC, my house would be foreclosed on. Would be homeless. I couldn't even work at Target. I would be homeless sitting outside of Target begging people for money because job security is a myth. Does not matter how much education you have apparently for Gen Z, because there are no jobs for us out there.
And another thing about the city-run grocery stores in New York City, they're planning to place them in food deserts. You know, where people don't have easy access to food. MAGA's claims that they're trying to put other grocery stores out of business is just another lie to convince you to not want or expect help from your government so that MAGA can take your tax dollars and use them to keep their corporate donors happy. They should want to keep you happy. Think about that as November midterms approach.
What do you mean that every single month we are getting screwed in some way, okay? The electric bill, $312. And granted, yeah, I know it's been freaking miserably hot. We live in a hot box right now. I put aluminum foil on my freaking windows, which apparently is not helping, okay? $312. And I'm like, okay, thank God we have AC, okay? I'm AC dependent, so thankful for that. But our freaking water bill has been so daggum high, $72, $65. And I'm like, what? The actual flip is going on to where we're having to pay that much. I don't understand it, and I'm so sick of it. So I called, hey, how are ya? Why is our water bill high? Do you have a leak? Okay, well, we'll check, okay. The meter's not freaking running. So I call back and I'm like, hey, our meter's not running. Oh, I'm sorry. We've had to come out and check your all's meter. And that's the reason why. Okay. They've had to check the meter. So I paid it 2 months in a row. Now I'm getting another freaking high bill again. And I'm like, I'm over it. I'm taking it dry and I don't like it freaking dry. Spit on it at least. Do something. I'm so freaking mad right now. So I called today and I'm like, hey, okay, our water bill is high yet again. Okay. Why is it high? I don't understand. And I'm sick and tired of getting it just every which way, okay? Electric, groceries, water, like give me a freaking break, So I call. I'm like, please tell me why. Well, I said, you've told me that it was a water leak. It wasn't a water leak. There's no meters running, okay? Thumbs up for that. And now, all of a sudden, you're trying to say it's because the guys have been checking. How did you all check it before when I noticed?
And the fuck is enough. All we do is work to barely get by. We pay our bills, we pay our rent, and we scrape up the pennies to try to put food on our table. We are not living a dream. We living the worst nightmare we ever could imagine, and tomorrow's going to be worse. We get many content creators on here, and they always trying to pull people in so we can stop this shit, man. If we all stand together and say, you know what? It isn't going to get any better. Stop every fucking thing. I don't give a fuck what it is. People are afraid, I might lose my house. You're gonna lose it any fucking way. But at least be a man or a woman and fight for this motherfucker while you got the opportunity to do it. If 500,000 come together and go door to door if you have to, I don't give a damn. But to try to end the shit that we live in, man, this is not living. I don't know what the fuck you call this anymore. I'm tired. I know millions of y'all are tired. Everybody black out the system. Let's boycott that store, boycott that. Fuck everything. Fuck your job, fuck church, fuck stores, fuck every fucking thing, man. Till they have no choice but to listen to what the fuck we got to say. And how we gonna do it now, man? ICE taking over. And people upset, but they not stopping. Why? Because they know we ain't gonna come together strong enough to stop shit in this country. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm tired of living like this, bro. Out of all the years I've been on this motherfucking earth, I never would have imagined it'd get to the point where I'm working myself to death just so I can manage myself in my own fucking home. People, we gotta come with something better. TikTok, you know what's gonna happen? They gonna take this motherfucker. When they find out we are finally coming together, they gonna say, fuck TikTok, shut them down. And everybody gonna go back to their fucked up lives like they've been living. If it takes us to send emails, give each other's phone number, I don't give a fuck. Or have a meeting place in every city. And say on a certain day, everybody go. And everybody that come to that motherfucker, I don't give a damn. We march the streets. We go door to door. And we convince everybody. It's time to shut this bitch down, man. I'm tired of living like this, and I know y'all are too. Find a day, find something. Let's do this shit for real this time. And it ain't black or white. Every fucking American is being, how can I say, affected by this shit, man. We got to do better, bro. We got to stop this shit. I'm tired, and I know y'all are. What the fuck are we doing on this earth, man? Every day, most of us wake up and go to a job that we really don't fucking like, but we can't really quit because we got to get the money to pay the bills that they say it's important to pay. What the fuck is the point of this life, man? We go to grocery stores and buy food that God gave us for free. Why the fuck did we pay for lights? Well, that's just the way it is. Fuck you. I'm tired of all this that's just the way it is bullshit. This whole fucking system is garbage. America ain't nothing but a big ass fucking plantation, man. A big ass fucking plantation. What the fuck are we doing here? There are days I don't want to be on this earth. And I'm not saying I want to unalive myself and nothing like that. But I'm tired, man. It's like, what the fuck is the point of any of this? To work till we 60, 70 years old? Most of us ain't gonna fucking live to see 50. But we gotta work to maybe retire. Man, fuck you and all that bullshit, man. I don't give a fuck about who president, left, right, and all this dumbass shit. I'm tired of this whole fucking game, man. It's a big ass game. It's a big ass charade. America is a fucking plantation. I don't give a fuck what nobody got to say about it, man. This shit is exhausting. Like, I don't even want to look for another job. I'm gonna walk in there, they gonna ask me, why do you even want this job? Bitch, because I need some fucking money to pay the bills that they tell me is important to pay. Get the fuck out of here, man.
People are talking about the economy is going to crash. Newsflash, the economy has already crashed. We have teens and young adults, and what I mean by teens and young adults, 17-year-olds up to 30-year-olds. They're making decent money. They're actually making more than we made when we were teenagers, and they can't afford cars. They can't afford to move out on their own. On a daily, I see people riding back and forth using Uber and Lyft. They're paying $25 and up one way to get to work. And they're not realizing that they're just working to pay to get to work.
Do you know why it feels so hard to take anything seriously right now? I feel like it's because our economy and our entire culture at that is being held together by clout. I literally think that the only thing left is clout. Nobody cares until everybody cares. And on some level, whether you've thought about this or not, you already understand this. When you tap the countertop in your luxury apartment and you feel that it is a wood composite as opposed to wood grain, you understand that all that mattered was selling the idea of luxury. The material reality had nothing to do with it. When you're witnessing our language evolve in real time to include terms like that's so on brand, for individual people, you understand what is happening. Everything is rendered into a very ugly speculative market of social capital where everything becomes very volatile because everyone jumps on board and jumps ship together. We understand this in our bones, and consequently, it feels like we're constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop and for the bubble to pop. Like, I spent the last half year developing an app that basically functions like Pokemon Go for music. And it's been cool watching truly innovative artists and listeners who are really tapped in enjoy the platform and find cool ways to use it. But something I've heard from some folks, a lot of folks actually, is like, oh, I'm waiting for a bigger artist to get on there so that I can feel better about being on the app. That's the power of clout. That's the power of social capital. If I put Elon Musk in the title of this video, it's going to do considerably better. Increasingly so, we move through life like day traders. And whether people are excited about participating in this economy or not, they do with their attention. Every scroll is an investment. The reality is most people don't know how to make informed investments for themselves. They just do what everybody else seems to be doing. Again, nobody cares until everybody cares. I think that makes for a very volatile environment. Is why the life cycle of trends, of pop stars, of everything feels shorter now. And the only thing that has any true assuredness are legacy acts and legacy franchises that tap us into a time before this topsy-turvy, clout-driven world. That you might say that's always been the case. People have always moved in flocks, and I would agree with you. But it's being refined in a very scary way. You know, iron and steel are not the same thing. Same way that every day you can train yourself such that compliance is no longer your default by breaking small rules that are given to you arbitrarily. I think every day you can train yourself to think more creatively, to forge your own paths. It's a way of life. It's a discipline in the same way one would pursue a martial art or an instrument. The manufactured scarcity of that ability to do that is creating value around it. When these Silicon Valley tech bros talk about, oh, taste is the new blah, 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 all they're saying is the value is now in people who can pick things that they like and then convince you that they're worth liking. That is leftist sales. We're hollowing out the substance of everything. This is the definition of decadence.
Having $39, $40, which is still high, by the way, whatever, water bills. And then all of a sudden, because you're having to check the meter, it's going up so much more. I don't understand that. And I said, and what makes no sense is, because she was like, well, it's the time period too. We had to get out of the truck and check it. So are you guys penalizing me for having to open the damn door and get out and check it? That I'm having to pay for you to do your job? Is that what it is? Just tell me. Is that what it is? I don't know. I'm so freaking pissed, and I don't feel any more comfortable with the conversation. I said, okay, thank you. And I'll just take it dry yet again, you know? I'm so freaking over it. I'm so over it. And guess what? Next month, until they get their little meters put in, which it's not going to freaking change. I don't know. I'm so freaking done. I'm so done. You know, it's like we are living paycheck. That's the reason. And people are like, I don't understand. Why are you guys living paycheck to paycheck? Because we're getting, I don't know how you all are doing it. You know what I'm saying? Tell me how you guys are doing it. If it's dealing stuff, tell me. I'll just do it too. I'm so over it. You know, go to the freaking, go to get groceries, $300. That $300 doesn't get us all that we want. That's the basics. That is just, okay, we'll squeeze it here and squeeze it there, make it work, you know? Nobody else feel like this? Just me? I'm tired of it.
Most Americans cannot afford to live right now. Grocery prices, healthcare costs, housing, and just the most basic of entertainment is cost prohibitive for so many Americans. Our president ran on all of these campaign promises about making life affordable for Americans. And so many people believed him. 77 million. How is that working out for you? Because from my vantage point as a therapist, things are so bad with no plan for improvement. Depression and anxiety are through the roof. But yet, people can't even afford to come in for therapy. The people who need help the most cannot get it. This is the United States of America, the richest country in the world, but only works if you're in the top 1%. Most of us are regular people just trying to exist. And we are struggling. We are struggling.
I hate being a bad news bear, but call me Yogi because I don't like the look of this. The U.S. financial system is reaching new and dangerous highs of suckiness. See, that yellow line is the GDP of everything the United States produces in a year, and that purple line is U.S. debt. And they are crossing, which means that we're at the point where servicing U.S. debt is more expensive than any other thing that the U.S. government does. This includes our two most expensive activities, which are funding the Department of War and Social Security. Now, politicians will hand wave this away as not a big deal. However, the market won't. It seems that the largest holders of U.S. treasuries, Japan, the UK, and China, are starting to sell off. In fact, it's down 13% year over year, and that looks more like a strategic sell-off rather than a rebalancing of a portfolio. Here's the thing about taking on debt, specifically debt related to conflict. It only works if you're going to be making more money off of the assets that you've seized. And the best the U.S. can do in Iran is return to a previous state. Link in bio.
America isn't running out of houses. It's running out of houses ordinary people can afford. For every 100 extremely low-income renters, there are only 35 affordable and available homes. The national shortage, 7.2 million. And millions of people are being forced to choose between rent, food, healthcare, and everything else. But then you look at what's happening behind me. Vehicle dwellers, solar panels for power, no landlord, a home on wheels. And suddenly, the economics of survival start looking very different. The city asks, what's your income? The wasteland asks, how much water did you bring? And as normal life gets more expensive, don't be surprised when more Americans start preferring the second question.
I believe there's going to be a massive financial crash in 2028, and I don't think anybody's coming to save you. I don't think that our government, who handing out stipends, corporations, the inflation, particularly in America, I do not believe that anyone is coming to save you. I believe that people need to realize that the only thing you have is each other. I think that the hoarding of resources of cash, there is such a disparaging level of income between Americans. People who have money. People who don't have money don't have money. The middle class has been broken in this economy and country for quite some time. And with that being said, I really do think that we are due for a financial burst sometime in 2028. Maybe March onward of 2028, from what I understand and what I'm kind of seeing. That's not to cause panic, and that's not to be like, oh, it's the end of the world. It's to tell you that the only people you have are each other. Your friends, your neighbors that you don't know. That is what's going to get people through this burden, and should be happening now. The idea that I'm going to save, I'm going to hoard, I'm going to oversell, I'm going to overcharge because we're squeezing each other to keep up with the economic rush of what corporations are doing to us. If you're not aware, okay, price gouging online on your phones, go look it up. You and your friend are going to be charged different amounts. Uber Eats, Uber in general. There's a big problem in this country. And so this is not to scare anybody, but start really thinking about opening your heart and your contacts of your friends to how you can build each other up, because that is the only way. The government is not coming to save you. Corporations do not give a shit about you, and things are just going to progressively spiral, and it's fine. You're going to be fine. Don't be panicked. But really think about the relationships that you have with one another beyond your family, because family's kind of toxic, but the family that you choose, and start really leaning into that for the next year and a half.
Bank of America's CEO made $41 million last year, and he thinks the affordability crisis exists because people believe there's an affordability crisis. Bank of America's own filing says his 2025 compensation rose from $35 million to $41 million.
I think we have an affordability crisis because people believe there's an affordability crisis, which will shape their behavior if it doesn't come into line.
Come in line? People's rent is supposed to come in line with Brian Moynihan's opinion about the economy. Your bill needs to straighten up and stop making Bank of America's consumer data look bad. People don't believe they can't afford their lives. They know they can't afford their lives. They see it when the rent clears and there's nothing left. They see it when they're standing in a grocery aisle deciding what to put back. They see it when the insurance payment hits and the car needs gas and the credit card is already carrying the last month's emergency. Moynihan made about $112,000 a day last year. That means he made more before lunch than many people make in an entire year. And from that position, he goes on television and talks about the affordability crisis like millions of Americans have worked themselves into a bad fucking mood. They're in a bad mood because they can't afford to buy food. He says the belief will shape people's behavior. Yeah, Brian, when people can't afford shit, they stop buying shit. That's not irrational consumer pessimism. That's running out of money. And that's the part he actually cares about. If people start cutting back because they know they're getting screwed, spending slows down. Corporate earnings take a hit. Banks get nervous. So the problem becomes the public's belief instead of the prices draining their accounts. Then he starts going through the bills people can't afford.
That's largely around housing and rent costs, which are still rising, but rising at a less fast rate. It's around insurance costs, which actually came back in line. It's around food costs and gas costs.
Oh, good. Rent is still rising, but not as fast. I'm sure that's deeply comforting to someone whose rent already swallowed half their paycheck. And insurance came back in line. According to whom? The person paying the premium or the bank CEO looking at a national average? He lists housing, rent, insurance, food, and gas as though he's describing a few rough spots around the edges. That is the cost of being alive. He has just named the roof over your head, the food you eat, the way you get to work, and the coverage you need when something goes wrong. Then, after suggesting that crisis begins in people's heads, he finally says this.
It's a real issue.
No shit. It was a real issue before the CEO making $41 million a year decided to acknowledge it. It was real when people started skipping meals. It was real when families started carrying groceries on credit cards. It was real every time someone opened a renewal notice and realized insurance had gone up again. Brian Moynihan can call it a belief because he's insulated from every price he's discussing. He's not living it. Rent could double and it wouldn't change his life. Groceries could go up another 20% and he wouldn't even notice. Gas could hit $10 a gallon and he'd still never have to decide whether filling the tank means overdrawing his account. So spare me the concern about people's perceptions. Americans aren't imagining an affordability crisis. They're financing one, while the people at the top get paid tens of millions of dollars to explain why the real problem is that everybody...